Hello, this is Mike. In this screencast, I want to look at one of the most important and significant sections of the social media planning cycle, identification and reaching of the target audience. In particular, I want to look at how segmentation of the market and subsequent profiling of members of the segments can lead to the development of strategy. How, for example, a persona developed to embody a typical member of a market segment can be used to craft a message and place that message through appropriate social media channels. And I'm going to introduce briefly one of the key tools in the arsenal of the social media market at the moment, the social media marketing compass that can help us steer our strategy. So, a quick recap of segmentation and profiling. Market segmentation is about taking an aggregate market, say the population, and breaking it down into segments, subgroups based on common characteristics. Once we've defined the segments, we then profile them and come up with a picture of the typical member. We take the data and build up a picture, an image, an imaginary friend to represent the average customer in that group. So that's what the persona approach is all about. Taking the data and in giving it, albeit artificial, a sense of personality. Make it seem like a real person that we now need to talk to. There are lots of different data sources that can help us achieve our segmentation and our persona development, from demographic, emotional and relationship characters to pitch and impact characteristics, the latter two being about the type of marketing message they'll respond to and the likely return on investment that we would expect to achieve with that. So lots of different ways of dividing a market up and fleshing out the typical member of a segment and the types of message they're likely to listen to. Personas can be used to drive strategy in many, many different ways. But really, there's a three-stage process involved in this. First of all, we need to identify the specific roles of the persona we've fleshed out. So if we take consumer goods, is the persona we've developed as a typical segment member the person within the household who is the main purchaser? Are they the person who chooses the product or service? That's not necessarily the person who goes out and actually does the buying, for instance, and so on. Second step, once we understand the role of the person that we're going to be communicating with, what are the wants, needs and desires, the general factors driving the purchase, and what about the type of situation in which a purchase is likely to occur? For instance, is our product primarily a staple item? Do they purchase our product when something else isn't available, perhaps? What is the underlying motivation that makes the purchase actually happen? And the third element in this is identifying the personas we have a capability of reaching. We can't target every single person, so which type of person across the different segments should be most likely to be talking to? Who are we communicating with? What channels should we use? And what types of messages would work best in the different channels? So that's about developing our persona into a target marketing strategy. Understanding the role of the person we're talking to, what they want or need, and the situations in which they're likely to need it, and how they're going to find out about the product, what are their main information sources going to be, and the best way to engage with them through that channel. If we look at this simple little diagram, it shows how optimal segments can be identified. The three circles represent the three different types of persona we might have identified in our segmentation. So, for example, we might find that there are customers who need our product. We might find, too, that there's a group of potential customers who have an interest in our product. And the third type of person we might have identified will be those with the means to buy it. Now, the optimal customer sits in the center of this diagram. Yeah? The most profitable market segment are going to be the people where the three circles overlap. Those who need our product, those who are interested in it, and those with the means to buy it. Anything else is secondary, but of course we may wish to expand our customer base by targeting these secondary segments too. For example, people who need our product and are interested in it, but perhaps they haven't got the means to buy it. So what marketing strategies can we adopt to make them able to afford our product, for instance? What kind of discounting or payment plans could be put in place? Equally, we might have people who have the need of means but aren't interested in our brand. So how do we develop brand awareness? Or we might have people with the means to buy and a vague interest, but they don't see that they actually need our product. So how do we convince them, you can't live without this computer? Bottom right-hand corner of this slide is the logo of a fashion retailer in the UK, Next. And I did some work with Next on understanding predominantly female customers and how they could be converted to different purchase channels. I really used this exact same approach. Next had three types of personas who could be identified within different segments. People who were, wanted to buy Next fashion products. There were those who were interested in finding out more about Next fashion products. And there were those who could afford them. Again, the optimal segment for Next are those sitting in the center, the people who want, can afford, and would like to buy Next products. And there were also those secondary segments too, where two of the three criteria exist. They're the ones ripe for conversion. And what I worked with Next on was how we reached those different secondary segments to convert them via different channels, specifically physical fashion store, mail order catalogue, and the internet purchase channel. But I used the persona technique. I took segmentation data, I developed archetypes, personas, typical members of those segments, and fleshed out their profiles, and then helped them craft the right message through the right channel. So the persona approach is a great way of organizing market segments and target marketing activities. There are a number of tools that have been developed to help us steer a course through the social media minefield out there. I'm talking about store, catalog, and internet as channels, but if you just look at Web 2, well, there are dozens and dozens of different social media platforms we could be drawing on. So what's the best way to navigate all those potential options? The social media marketing compass is designed to help us steer a brand. And essentially, it's a graphic that helps us take the objectives for the brand and the types of people we want to reach with the brand and chart the channels we should be best using. Here's a cross-section. As you can see, the different types of colors being used here represent different elements of the journey. At the center, we have the brand, and we want to reach out to people with. The yellow circles, they are the different players in this process. Brand advocates, for example, the people we want to reach out to because they will promote our products themselves for us. If you think about the motor industry, well, TV commentators on cars are great brand advocates to try to reach out to, and that's why motor manufacturers spend a lot of money trying to influence the key influencers who review new and updated motor cars in TV magazine programs. The green, they recommend, they're the platforms typically favored by the different groups. So, for example, lots of brand advocates use mobile devices in order to communicate, and it's the people who tweet about new cars that in the social media world are the most important. And so you can see that a type of actor favors a type of channel. Moving further out, we get into the types of channel form. So they're using mobile and they're going to aggregation channels in order to reach out. And through them, they move out further and they're generating empathy. So you can see we start with the brand, we move out to the different types of people we might want to talk to. We then move out further to the types of channel they use and how they use them, reaching out to the types of message, the softer elements of the message that they're likely to be responding to and interacting with on that level. So again, if we go left to right from the center, the brand might be reaching out to bloggers. Bloggers might then be favoring online events. They might be looking for portability in a channel, so online events through a smartphone, and they might respond to credibility and projections of value. You get the idea? So the compass is about steering a course to the end goal, and the outer circle is the style of message that we need to project. So that's the social media marketing compass, just one of many channels we might attempt to use. So that's target marketing. We divide an aggregate market into segments and profile them. The personas of typical members of the segments are the basis of the development of target marketing strategy, and tools like the social media marketing compass help us determine which channels we should be using and the styles of messages to project through them. Thank you very much.